Kind of, I guess. Well, I guess the movie, well, this is okay. Spoiler, if you hadn't already been made aware by the last two episodes, but we're going to talk about the movie. So if you don't want to hear about it, go away.
Okay, let's be honest. It's an OVA. It's filler.
Yeah. Yeah. This is
It
true.
counts, but it's filler.
Well, I think that there's a whole argument to be had about whether or not filler counts.
It's fine. It's an enjoyable movie. It's just
Is it
filler.
though? Is it?
I
Did you
I
enjoy
had a
watching it?
I had a good time watching it, and I'm having a good time talking about it.
I'm having a great time
But do,
talking about it, but
but
I'll tell you, it
but
was a
but
2 hour
okay.
slog for me.
But would I say that it's good cinema?
The third installment of the Death Note live action was not Death Note. It was like
No.
in no way really connected. It wasn't even really about L.
Part of me does wonder though, and maybe someone will be able to tell me. Was L theoretically immortal during this time period? All right, I think you're doing the intro.
Am I doing the intro? Oh, I'm doing
I
the intro.
I think I did the last one.
No, I definitely did the last one because the
Oh,
last one was
okay.
Freaks and Geeks.
Freaks and geeks. Right. It's fine. Just do the intro. It's fine.
You want me to do
I'll
the
do the
intro?
I'll do the one tomorrow.
All right. I didn't prepare anything, so welcome back, guys. We are concluding our. No, I don't like that.
Should we keep this entire preamble on in the video?
I'm thinking that like we've already. I feel like you guys are here. Let- we did not figure things out for today.
We never figure things out. Don't lie to the people.
Well, we're gonna wrap up our Death Note saga here with the third installment.
Technically, there is a fourth one, but we're
Fourth
focusing on
one.
the. There is no. There is an actual Japanese fourth one that was released in 2016, a decade later. We may visit that in the future, but we're not visiting it right this minute because we've had nonstop Death Note, and I need a break.
News to me, I didn't know about that. But what could you possibly do? Light's dead, L's dead, kind of, I guess. Well, I guess the movie, well, this is okay. Spoiler, if you hadn't already been made aware by the last two episodes, but we're going to talk about the movie. So if you don't want to hear about it, go away.
And if you do want to hear about it, do it after you've watched the movie. It is worth visiting, even if you have to sit through really terrible delayed audio like I did.
Yeah, that was weird. I also had
I
to. How
I'm
bad
having a
was
hard time
yours?
finding it. Mine was delayed by about 25 seconds.
That's wild. Mine was delayed about 15, so not
Yeah,
as
I
bad.
have no idea where to find this movie online anymore. I definitely had a copy of it at some point, but I can't find it anymore.
It was not great. So my some of my thoughts I feel like are to some degree jumbled because I'm not entirely sure which characters said what. I have a good idea based on context, but not 100% sure.
It's all right. Well, we're already past spoiler territory. Should we just get straight into the plot of the movie?
So yeah, I mean like I didn't realize that there was another movie after this. And my quandary would be is it has to be about Nier. It can't be about anybody else. Unless because we don't technically see L die at the end of this one. So it could be about his literal last day, but I feel like that would not make a great movie.
From what I understand, the time L died is in the second movie at the end when he's talking to Light's dad, where he tells him to just let him die in peace, and then he does the pose that he does in the anime, which is to signify he died. So I think all this takes place before that last scene in the second movie.
Yeah, the you're talking about the third movie.
No, yeah. So the third movie takes place in between the second movie.
Right. Right. But that's what
So
I mean.
But L dies in the second one at
Right.
the
But
end.
But that's what I mean. Like, I guess you could make another movie because at the end of the third movie, he doesn't die at the end of the third movie. Like, we don't catch up with where the second movie is, if that makes any sense. Because he has that whole thing at the end where he's like, I want to live longer, blah blah blah. Even though we all know that he's gonna die. So the fourth movie could be about that last day, or
I
more
doubt it.
reasonably, it's probably about near.
Probably. We probably could have looked into it, but it's been nothing but Death Note, and I just had enough of that for a little bit.
Hey, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. So
And not even the good Death Note. This is the live action Death Note.
do you? I'm curious if you had the same thought that I had, which is the third installment of the Death Note live action was not Death Note. It was like
No.
in no way really connected. It wasn't even really about L.
Mm, it's sort of about his last moments as a result of the Death Note. That's as contrived as it can be, and that's my best.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what it was and how it was connected to the word Death Note. And Ryuk does show up and he does get shooed away, so that technically counts, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose, but it feels more like we are trying to connect this to Death Note than it actually being a Death Note installment.
Okay, let's be honest. It's an OVA. It's filler.
Yeah, yeah, this is
It
true.
counts, but it's filler.
Well, I think that there's a whole argument to be had about whether or not filler counts because
It doesn't. It doesn't count.
I don't think it does either. And this just felt like I don't know what was going on in Japan in 2008 because that's when this one comes out is in 2008. But this oddly feels like propaganda for like climate change activism. I don't know if anybody else felt that way.
2008.
I don't know if
Is
that
that
was I don't know
is
if that
that
was in the
was
nuclear
that was
reactor
that
broke down.
was that it, it could have been. I'm
I'm
wondering,
wondering
let's
now
see,
if
2000.
that was when the Fukushima disaster happened.
It does very much feel like climate activism. You looking it up?
It's 2011 was the Fukushima disaster.
Okay, so no, not quite.
So no, not that. But it feels very propaganda-y.
hmm So going into it, the whole idea is that they have produced a virus super weapon that is going to kill X number of people on Earth, a la Thanos, but nowhere near as
Mm,
controlled.
it feels more like the fictionalized COVID
It's yeah,
before
it's fictional
COVID.
COVID. Can we talk about that first death scene though, where the professor like injects himself? It is gruesome. It's
The
straight out of a horror movie.
the one where you think he's dead, but then he pops up like ah.
Yeah, it's horrifying. It's
It's
great. I love it.
I laughed a little bit too hard, I
That's
think.
that's one of the best. That's one of the best scenes of the movie.
I think you and I have a different feeling about that scene because I just was like, can this be done now? We get it.
hmm Yeah, and then the general L-isms have been extended up to 11 on this one. Like the the scene where he's typing just with his index fingers is hilarious.
Yeah,
It's with the mask. It's just peak cinema.
I wonder how much of that was director driven and how much of that was the actor's choice because
hmm
it does feel like L, but also it feels very cartoony, if that makes sense.
Which I think works in this context. It's not a movie that we take that seriously.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it, strangely enough.
hmm
What I did mind, though, was they made kind of a big deal about the fact that L never stands up straight.
Mhm.
And that's never really an issue for him in the manga or the anime. He
I
just does
mean,
it.
in fairness, most when he's in the manga and anime, he's trying to fight Light, which is a full time job.
Yeah, that's fair.
People don't really. We didn't really get breathing room in the series,
Which I think
especially in the
is
live
good.
action. Hmm. So filler content. It's like, oh, the guy who's always crouched over. What? How horrible would he look if he stood up straight? And it turns out pretty horrible. Like,
I
go back
actually
down to slouching, motherfucker.
I thought I thought that that was the best acting
Oh no,
for
that's my absolute best favorite scene of the movie. Like,
uh okay.
no question about it.
It's a good one. I enjoyed that one.
Hmm.
I did because you brought up Ryuk, I did have this thought of they must have saved a lot of money on CGI for this particular film
Theoretically, right.
because they just were like, yeah, we're not gonna have that. That's and so what were your thoughts on him burning the Death Notes?
I think it was great. Like, it's shows that he would never use it for any like all that power in the world, and he would never use it.
I
Just
definitely
the
think it sets him
fundamental
up as
more the fundamental moral difference between him and Light is that you give him a super weapon, he wants to be the first to get rid of it and make sure no one uses it. Not
I
even
definitely
steals it
think
away, burns it.
yeah, I think it definitely sets him up as a White Knight sort of character. I do I did have a little bit of a problem with the sound design for it. I
That's fair.
it was kind of like, are these supposed to be the screams of the people that the Death Note killed because they're dead?
It's this Whales of the Dead, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't love
Ghostly
that part.
whale. Ghostly whale. Woo!
I did
Um.
appreciate the commentary on his character though, and it definitely
Mhm.
sets him up as a sort of Batman-esque kind of
Yeah,
character.
but at the same time, more approachable. Like those scenes where he keeps offering people his dessert skewers and no one wants it because it's
Nobody
disgusting,
wants them.
and he seems so offended that no one wants his skewer.
I was offended for him. That was, and they were kids. He was offering it to kids.
Yeah.
Kids were declining the
Okay. In
dessert
fairness,
skewers.
in fairness, Nier had his entire village and everyone he ever knew wiped off from the face of the planet. Uh, Maki had just lost her father. It's not like it was just random kids. They were traumatized kids.
Yeah, but that's why they needed desserts.
Yes.
Speaking of Maki, and this is we're kind of jumping around a little bit because I got to be honest, I
When do
did
we
not.
ever? When do we ever do things like by the book?
I mean, this one in particular though. I mean, you tell me if you felt differently, but the plot was not coherent.
No, not at all.
So, but
I love that he has like X number of days left to live and he's just speed running cases. A part of me does wonder though, and maybe someone will be able to tell me, was L theoretically immortal during this time period? Because he's supposed to die 23 days later exactly.
I do wonder this
Has
because
there been ever a case where someone's name gets written in the Death Note and then they got killed before the Death Note could take place? Because
so
because that idea has been explored in movies like Final Destination, where a character is fated to die. So in that series, you have to die in the order that you originally were going to die in before your life was saved. Someone said, "Screw it, I'm gonna kill myself," and couldn't because death hadn't come for him yet.
right. I think that we can make a deduction based on what we know. And I feel like we have to stick to the live action rules because I'm not sure if they are the same as the manga rules. But in the Death Note, in the live action rules, Light does write L's name in his notebook and doesn't die at the end of the second movie because of what L did, writing his own name in the Death Note. And hypothetically, if anything would be able to kill you before a Death Note took place, it would be another Death Note.
So that is one of the rules that is built into the Death Note, where if you write someone's name in the Death Note after X amount of time, you cannot overwrite that death, and it will occur as written in the first time. I want to say it's something like 30 seconds.
Well, but that's if you're trying to like if I wanted to kill John Doe and I say John Doe will die in 14 days and then some
It,
time elapses and then I
well, so let's
say
say 5 minutes later, I want to kill John Doe, and
right,
I want to kill him in 7 days. The 7 days will not take place because the 14 was written first.
right, right. So that's what happens in L's case at the end of the second movie.
Correct.
So we
However,
know
my
that
question is, if you shot him, if
would
you
he die?
shot L in this moment, would he just shake it off? Is this man basically invulnerable? Because if so, he's sitting in his room when he could be literally like doing anything.
I think that that is definitely an interesting quandary, and it does come up in the movie for me because when they're on the plane, and maybe this could be something that was just overlooked, or it could be intentional. I'm gonna be generous and say that it was intentional. When he's on the plane in the last scene of the movie, he's the only one who doesn't develop symptoms of the virus.
Right.
So
I would assume it is intentional, and therefore he's unaffected by disease, by anything really.
So he could get shot in the head, hypothetically, and yeah,
Hypothetically,
walk it off.
because this is L we're talking about. He's not throwing himself into dangerous situations. He's just walking casually through them. When, like, he's just walking through calmly throughout this movie. Oh, except when he's running that one time, and it looks really freaking awkward. But
It's
that works for his character.
I actually really enjoyed that. And I think that he had good cause because what I really like about L's character in this movie is you do get to see his humanity, and it's kind of funny in contrast because we were just talking in the last episode in the last movie about whether or not the decisions that were made humanize Light in the live action version, but I think this
For L,
really
there's no
does.
question. He's he's he is the good boy of the series.
Yeah, good
Compared
boy.
to compared to Light.
Well, the thing is, because again, I would still make the argument that you can understand Light's reasoning. And I think that you can make an argument about the means by which he goes about achieving the ends. But I think that Light can be best described in a generous sense as a dark hero, whereas L is definitely like the white knight hero.
I disagree with that statement only because Light's ego is what gets in the way of being able to call him a hero, because this is one of those cases where you absolutely know you're rooting for the villain to win.
How well, but what do you mean by you absolutely know you're rooting for the villain? Because again, the reason that Death Note is so good is because of the gray hue it casts on morality.
Okay, so remember last time when we were talking about like, oh, Light Misa goes after petty criminals, Light goes after the major ones.
Mhm.
Now, hypothetical situation. Let's say someone is falsely accused of murder, but the court system didn't view it that way. The court system pronounced them guilty. According to Light's laws, that person would deserve to die, even though there's no there's no uh, at least as far as I'm aware, Light doesn't really go in depth on on his methods of whether or not someone is to die. It's whether or not they are guilty by a court of law.
So
However, courts of law are fallible.
that's actually not. I didn't interpret Light's ideology in that way. I think Light does acknowledge that the court system can be flawed, and he you see this better in the manga, I think, than obviously the live action because it's so paced up.
It
But
really is.
Light does on occasion talk about why he kills certain people. So with Misa's uh, case specifically, her family's dead because of a burglar, and that burglar got off in a court of law. However, Light's rationale for murdering that person was because objectively he has a first-hand witness to what happened. So can the courts be flawed? Absolutely. And that's sort of what Light's whole point is. Now, we don't go into every single case and
Right.
if he is justified in killing every single individual. I personally interpreted it as Light does his research, and I'm actually inclined.
I disagree because when you see him filling out pages laughing maniacally, there is zero chance he did the
This is
research
fair.
and set up time aside in order to be like, oh, this person can be killed. Ah ha 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 ha.
That's assuming
Literally,
though he's killing people who are not already convicted of crimes, right? Because if
right. But this is the issue I'm having where with death penalties, false convictions are the argument against them.
yes, I don't disagree with that, but the it comes down to a numbers question and it sort of
Mm-hmm.
sucks at the end of the day because
It does.
what I am not behind is not levying the death penalty because you might kill one innocent man. I think that that's a very skewed logic. I think that in any endeavor that you undertake, we're human and you will make mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's also true for Light. I think Light also, I'm sure, made mistakes. I think the overarching question is were his actions overall for the benefit of mankind? And I think that's where the argument really is. Because I'm sure he killed an innocent man at
Oh,
some
absolutely.
point.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's zero question about it. Like he tried to kill some innocent people at some point or another. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I forgot his name again. The dude on TV.
Lindell Taylor?
Yeah. I
No,
mean,
that guy was a convicted criminal.
yes, he was that we know he's a convicted criminal. But when Light first encountered him and wrote his name down, he thought it was a detective.
He, well, ooh,
He
that's a
thought he was
really fair
L.
point. That's a really fair
Like
point.
already in year one, he's already against his own morality theoretically.
Well, I mean, I could default to the argument that I made in the last episode, which is that is arguably self-defense. But he also killed 12 FBI agents as
Yes,
well as a number of other police officers. And I'm
as
not
well
saying
as
that
the
those
head of the
people
FBI.
well, yeah, see, I'm not saying that these people are not guilty of crime. But on face value, innocent people that have not
Face
been
value,
accused of any crime.
whose job is to protect people from those who cause and commit crimes.
Right.
Like, for example, mass murder.
Right. Which, like I said, you could make the self-preservation argument. For me, I feel like it's somewhat of a flimsy argument because he hadn't been caught. They weren't close
No,
to catching him. Well, I guess that depends on what
they.
your
I mean,
perspective on it is.
if he hadn't killed Lynn L. Taylor, they would have had no idea he was in Japan because they would have played that video
This
elsewhere.
is true. This is true. He got himself.
Yeah, like that was literally an equal trip. Anyway, back to Good Boy L. Before we get too carried away talking about Light again, because admittedly he's a more interesting character to talk about. L's just
I don't think
he
this movie did Elle any favors because I think that Elle is a very interesting character, but I think the live action nerfed him a little bit, and you never got to see like really how his mind works like you do in the
mm-hmm,
manga.
yeah, he exists in this vacuum. It's fine. It's an enjoyable movie. It's just
Is it
filler.
though? Is it?
I
Did you
I
enjoy
had a
watching it?
I had a good time watching it, and I'm having a good time talking about it.
I'm having a great time
But do,
talking about it, but
but
I'll tell you, it was a
but
2 hour
okay.
slog for me.
But would I say that it's good cinema? Absolutely not.
It's really not. It's definitely a subpar movie. I know Eric doesn't rate movies, but I would give this a solid like 3, maybe like a 3.5. It's not great. It doesn't connect to the IP that it says it's part of, and it's not even about the guy that you said it's about.
I will say that there was a novel released afterwards that might be better, but it also would have come after the movie, release date wise.
What, like by the same title, Elle Changes the World?
Yeah. hmm I haven't read it
Interesting.
though, so
I'll have
it's
to take
out
a look at
there.
that.
hmm
Oh, do you know something that I do like about Elle's character that we see in abundance in this particular movie is how consumed Elle is with sweets. And not only do we see it, but we also get an answer as to why he eats essentially only sweets, which is kind of a bogus answer, but I appreciate the fact that they tried. It does remind me a little bit of Drake from Drake and Josh.
You're gonna have to elaborate on that one.
Are you not a Drake and Josh fan?
I am, but it's been like a decade.
There's an episode called The Bet where uh Drake and Josh get into a feud about their personal habits and whether or not they can keep them in check. And Drake's habit that annoys everybody is that he eats literally only sweets all the time for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And Josh's habit that annoys everybody is that he games all the time. And the linchpin of the episode is that Drake gets a rash from not eating sweets, and Josh receives a game sphere from his grandmother, which is like the latest gaming tech. And basically, the way that the bet goes down is whoever can abstain from their bad habit the longest gets to dye the other guy's hair pink.
Okay, not relevant to this particular episode. Fun fact about that game sphere: I saw a behind the scenes that it was actually a boombox or like a music player.
I believe that.
Like it wasn't like a fake prop that they made. They just went to like a Goodwill and saw, oh, here's like this CD player. Let's use it.
That's pretty cool, though. They
Mhm.
were CD players were oddly spherical back in the day when I think back on it.
Yeah, before everything got slimmed down, everything went big and weird shaped.
Yeah. And
Um,
usually quite colorful. But
on that particular note, and going back to that previous topic of was L immortal, we did find they do talk about the virus. Apparently, the virus thrives on blood sugar.
oh
I,
yes, we do find that
I,
out, which made no
I
sense to me.
it doesn't matter. Another theory I have is that L is so helplessly diabetic that that's the reason that the virus wasn't affecting him because he had so much blood sugar that the virus just died of overconsumption.
I did have that thought because I was like, how convenient that this particular virus is spurred on by sweets. But thought, I the way that it was explained, and I don't know that I understood it correctly because again, between the lag of with the captions and just poor dialogue, I wasn't sure if I was understanding it correctly because they said that the virus was activated by sweets. Therefore, if you didn't have any.
It's I think it's activated by blood sugar, which doesn't necessarily mean sweets. It mean because your body will naturally produce blood sugar in the form of glucose whenever you digest.
Right,
So
unless you're diabetic.
anything no, you'll still get glucose. It's just that your body doesn't break it down if you're diabetic. Diabetes is spurred by the absence of naturally made insulin in your body. So
Right.
you're gonna naturally have glucose if you eat anything at all,
Oh, right,
because
right,
that's
right,
how
right.
you
Yes,
get
yes, yes,
energy.
yes, yes. Yes, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, come on, Morgan,
It's
science.
basic science.
Um,
This is basic
basic
shit,
science.
guys.
So you're gonna have glucose in your system. It's the virus is activated by glucose essentially, which is just
Okay.
kind of stupid because everything is made of all carbohydrates are made of glucose. Like
I mean, like, it's
theoretically,
stupid, but it's not stupid because that's like the whole point of the virus is that it can wipe out massive amounts of. That's the whole point that they made it is because they were like the world is overpopulated and climate change and blah blah blah.
except for these rich people, we're gonna kill everybody.
Which I don't know how you would avoid killing them because,
Well,
like Eric said,
obviously
everybody
they
has
couldn't.
glucose.
Obviously they didn't.
Well, they didn't because L stops them, but if they actually succeeded in their
No, but like,
plan,
yeah, but like they had already they had already gotten infected on the plane at that point. Like they were all screwed.
yeah, like they were
They weren't
all.
protecting themselves. They didn't. That's why they were so intent on finding the antidote. But
That's here's something that, and I feel like all of the good stuff worth talking about is everything that happened on the plane. But they're on the plane. They're loading up passengers, and when they're getting ready to depart, the I guess captain makes an announcement that they're delayed. And this spurs that one lady, I forget what her name is, to
K, it's K.
Kay. Yeah, Kay. She goes like bonkers and for whatever reason starts detaching um the little girl Maki's from the bed that she's strapped to. And everything that happens is because she flipped out. And I'm just like, if you had just remained calm, even though the plane was delayed, everything would have been fine.
I thought that was because she saw L when she looked out the window.
That she no, well, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but also like
I'm pretty sure she saw L, and that's when she freaked out.
oh, maybe. I wasn't really paying attention. I thought she flipped because the captain said they were delayed.
No, so I think it was the only thing I think I have left that I want to say about the plane is that when the plane runs into the airport and you get the CGI window, it is rough. Even though
Um,
we got rid of the Shinigami, we got rid of the video game graphics, we still have to deal with the stupid ass window.
I find it so interesting that your issue with that scene is the CGI and not the fact that that plane, even if it was traveling at a measly like 10 miles an hour, was not stopping before it went nose first into that building. And you want me to believe
Well,
that a window stopped it?
my issue is that if the CGI window wasn't there and it was practical, it would have shattered like a real window. And it wouldn't have
Yes.
stopped. It wouldn't have stopped the stupid ass plane. It would have run through the airport. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, because the stupid ass CG window was made of rubber, it stopped the goddamn plane.
Yeah, I mean, like, I thought that that was definitely wild. But I did enjoy seeing L try to stop the plane. It was so dramatic for no reason. Like, it's
I
like
mean,
whenever you're in a car and you're like slamming on the brakes and you're like, if I like do something physically with my body, it will make this plane stop faster.
like how when like that habit of whenever people are trying to focus on the road, they turn down their music.
Yeah, like it's just I mean, like, I thought it made me laugh. I feel like it wasn't supposed to make me laugh, but it made me laugh.
Hmm. No, if you treat this movie as like comedy, I think it's a easier to approach movie.
I think so too. I think so too.
And
That's
going back
definitely
to your
fair.
personal rating, comedies are typically rated lower, so you can sort of adjust your scale accordingly.
Yeah, I always had an issue
If
with
you're
that
not,
because
so long as you're not expecting cinema,
yeah,
like
I've always had an issue with that because I think that comedy can be really, really good, but there's so much bad comedy out there that just dilutes the comedy pool.
hmm
Just like I feel like it's just like horror. Like I feel like there's so much bad horror in the world, it distracts from the good horror.
there's no such thing as bad horror. It's all good horror.
Sure.
It's all good.
Disagree.
Horror
Definitely
is one of those
disagree.
things where you can watch a masterpiece in theaters and love it, but you could also watch a complete train wreck and still love it.
I feel like that's true of all genres. Because I've seen quite a
I
few bad
I
movies
disagree.
that,
For example, when you have a drama that's laughably bad, it becomes a comedy.
yeah, and you can enjoy it in that way.
Yes, but if you treat it as a drama, you're never gonna have a good time.
Right.
Whereas horror, even if it goes into so bad that it's practically comedy, it's still identifiable as a horror. Like for example, Tommy Wiseau's The Room, drama technically,
Yeah.
absolutely not a drama.
I mean, but you still know that it's supposed to be drama.
No, that you have you ever watched The Room? There's no way that's a drama.
I've never seen The Room.
You should. It's fantastic. It's a great time.
Everybody tells me that I should.
It's best in the theater, I will say, because
The Room?
it's a cult classic, so people treat it as such. No one's actually there to watch the movie in silence. They're there for the group experience.
Yeah, I feel like that's true of most things that
No, no,
end
no.
up being comedy.
Not like The Room. Like
Okay. I mean, like I hear the same thing
anyway,
about like
we
Rocky Horror
are
Picture
getting
Show.
carried away and we will talk back on L changes the world. Um are there
What
any
else is there
other
to talk about, Eric? What else
No,
is there to
there's
talk
not
about?
much. The movie's simple.
I had one problem in the movie, which was when
One.
Maki runs away. How did Elle know where to look for her? That was like my
Because L,
biggest thing.
we've always established this. L is omniscient. He knows everything,
He
and
knows
he
all.
never has to think. He just knows.
He just knows. That's all my thoughts. Like,
He's definitely Jesus.
you know what's weird? You know what's weird? Even though the
You
movie was overall subpar, I did I did appreciate the end. I thought that the end was well done. I felt for Elle. I liked the nod to Nier. I liked it. I liked the end of the
yeah.
movie.
It's a solid. It's fine as a movie. If you're coming in expecting cinema, you're gonna be disappointed. If you're just here to have a good time, you'll have a good time.
That's about the most that I could say for it.
Yeah. It is a plot.
I you know what though? This one makes the other two look much better when you
hmm
stack them up against each other.
Yeah.
Which, you know.
hmm
So, yeah.
All right. Well, if anyone has any other thoughts, let us know in the comments. Otherwise, take it easy.
I want to know
We're
if anybody
definitely.
has a legitimate defense of this movie. That's what I want to know. If you have a legitimate defense of this movie, get in the comments.
Uh, Morgan, I think it has to be said. Are you ready to make this movie look good? Because if we're gonna, because I think that this is a good enough movie on its own, and there is one movie in that is titled Death Notes that will make you also agree that this movie is one of the best Death Note movies.
That's you're setting I feel like you're setting us up for failure there, but I think I know what you're referring to.
I don't want to watch it. Do we really have to watch it? I really don't want to watch it.
We might have to. We might have to. If
I
only
don't
to
want
redeem this
to.
movie. If only to
Oh,
redeem this movie.
Okay, I'll watch it.
Anyway,
Fine.
we may review it at some point in the future. If that's something you guys would be interested in, let us know. We may do it anyway.
Please, please beg us not to. I would adore that. I don't want to watch this piece of shit. I know it exists, I know what happens, and I don't like it.
These are all fair thoughts. I feel I've never seen it, so I can't actually weigh in with a legitimate point of view. But in any event,
It
uh,
makes M. Night Shyamalan's Avatar look faithful to the series.
I think you just broke my brain.
Yeah.
Well, while Morgan thinks on that, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and maybe we'll see you next time.
Or we won't, because I don't. And you'll never hear from us again, because I just don't want to watch that piece of shit. It's so bad.
All right then.
Bye.